Hello my dear fashion enthusiasts, I'm delighted to welcome you back today on Brandibay Fashion to discover together an important moment of Milan Fashion Week. Make yourselves comfortable, because we are about to explore the Marni Autumn-Winter 2026 fashion show, a collection that marks a new chapter in the history of the Italian house. Every fashion house has a very distinctive identity, almost like an aesthetic language that evolves through its designers. At Marni, that language has always felt slightly unconventional, a very structured Milanese elegance, yet always crossed by a subtle, almost artistic strangeness. This season is particularly interesting because it marks the arrival of Belgian designer Meryll Rogge as creative director, following the years of Francesco Risso and the founding legacy of Consuelo Castiglione. What immediately stands out when observing the first silhouettes is the choice of a relatively pared-down approach. The color palette remains dominated by dark and sober tones, black, deep browns, grays, occasionally punctuated by softer or pastel touches. There is a clear desire to return to a certain purity of line, where the structure of the garment becomes the central element. You will also notice that proportions play an essential role in this collection. Short coats appear with very precise cuts. The shoulders are sharp yet never rigid, and the skirts often fall around the knee, creating a balanced and quietly confident silhouette. Some waists are slightly defined, giving the looks a very natural elegance, almost understated. But behind this apparent restraint, the collection gradually reveals a more daring dimension. Meryll Rogge, for instance, introduces a few metallic accents, studs, visible zippers, or metal details punctuating the garments. These elements are never dominant, yet they bring a slight visual tension, almost a subtle punk energy that prevents the collection from becoming too polite. Materials also play a fundamental role in the identity of Marni, and this is particularly noticeable here. Some short coats in shearling or goat leather convey an immediate sense of warmth and comfort. Textured surfaces, sometimes slightly fluffy, create an interesting dialogue between the sobriety of the cuts and the tactile richness of the fabrics. Another characteristic element of the house appears in the use of patterns. Stripes are presented with clear graphic precision, while polka dots appear as larger and more assertive circles. As the models walk down the runway, these patterns almost seem to create movement like a visual rhythm across the show. Floral motifs, meanwhile, remain very modern, without excessive romanticism or nostalgia. Personally, I find that this collection succeeds in a delicate exercise, engaging in a dialogue with the history of the house without simply reproducing the past. You can feel that the designer knows Marni's archives very well, yet she uses them mainly as a starting point to build her own vision. If I had to highlight one major strength of this show, it would be its ability to propose an intellectual, almost cultural elegance that still feels very wearable in real life. The garments seem designed for people who live, work, and move through the world, rather than simply posing on a runway. That said, some might feel that the collection occasionally remains a little cautious for a first chapter. A few silhouettes almost resemble a stylistic study rather than a radical statement, but perhaps it is precisely this restraint that allows the foundations of a new direction to be established. Before I let you enjoy the rest of the show, I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this new step for the House of Marni? Do you feel that this collection succeeds in renewing the spirit of the brand? I wish you a wonderful viewing for the rest of the runway show. Thank you very much for sharing this moment with me on Brandibay Fashion, and as always, take care of yourselves and continue exploring fashion with curiosity. Goodbye.